Donald Trump left his criminal trial in an absolute rage after his lawyer's mistrial motion was denied. Justice Merchan not only denied the motion, but said to Trump's lawyers, y'all opened the door for exactly what you are complaining about. You are to blame. It is your behavior. Take some responsibility for your own actions. So yes, it was a stormy day. It was a stormy week. It is a stormy trial thus far for Donald Trump as we are in day 14, week 4. Things did not go well today during the cross-examination of Stormy Daniels for Donald Trump, that is. People were thinking that Donald Trump, with his team of lawyers who supposedly had good reputations in New York, like Susan Necheles, they were going to show Stormy Daniels. They were going to cross-examine her. And Stormy Daniels not only held up, I think she did much better on cross-examination than she did during direct examination. And I think she did just fine during direct examination. She was calm. She was confident. And as Donald Trump's lawyers tried to attack her and themselves focus on all of the quote unquote salacious stuff, Stormy Daniels explained in meticulous detail everything that went down. And we will go over all of that here. And Donald Trump left saying, I'm so innocent. I'm so innocent. It's exactly what you'd expect innocent people to say when they leave their criminal trial, right? Donald Trump whining in court, Donald Trump whining about not being able to campaign because of his criminal trial. But let's just face it, that's a scam as well. When Donald Trump is off from trial, he's not spending his time campaigning. Like on Wednesday, Donald Trump spent the day at Mar-a-Lago hosting an NFT event for his Trump NFT trading cards, where guests arrived at Mar-a-Lago with $425,000 Hermes Croc Birkin bags. I hope I'm saying that the right way, or maybe I don't hope I'm saying that the right way. At this event, Donald Trump was bragging about solving math problems. I took 2,373 and I multiplied it by 400,000. 3, 2 multiplied, divided, 7 equals. I knew the answer. It's like actually just like that. He also bragged about not being cognitively impaired. I'm cognitively good, he wanted everybody to know. Well, he was not doing all that good in Indiana, of all places. Yes, there was a primary held in Indiana. Nikki Haley, who dropped out of the Republican primaries 2 months ago, got over 20% of the vote. Let me repeat that. Nikki Haley got over 20% of the vote. She got over 100,000 plus votes in Indiana. Yet corporate media wants to say, oh, just take a look at our polls, not this statistically significant actual voting behavior that we've seen in each and every one of the primaries so far. Didn't y'all learn your lesson with the red wave? I don't think you did. Speaking about not learning their lessons, or perhaps just not learning anything at all in life, Marjorie Taylor Greene filed a motion to vacate the speaker, MAGA Mike Johnson, and then another motion to table Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion, basically reject the motion, was immediately introduced. Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion to vacate was immediately rejected as she got booed throughout the speech that she gave. It was quite humiliating, but quite delightful. Speaking about quite delightful, President Biden spent his Wednesday in Wisconsin, where a new Quinnipiac poll actually has President Biden up big, but I know I shouldn't be focusing on polls. Let's focus on things like President Biden announcing a $3.3 billion investment in Microsoft, bringing an AI data center to Wisconsin in the exact same county, in the exact area, in the exact same plot of land where Donald Trump, when he began disgracing the Oval Office, claimed that Foxconn was going to build a factory. You know how we've been exposing all the Trump scams where he brings out like fake people who he claims are supporters, and he goes to the bodega and he goes to the Chick-fil-A. When he had the Oval Office, he would run those scams. He had Foxconn say they're building a factory. This is going to be the 8th wonder of the world. He said they brought golden shovels. They ended up screwing over the taxpayers of Wisconsin. And get this, building nothing. Who would know that the biggest destroyer that there is, Donald Trump, who's never been a builder, who bankrupted everything, who lies about everything, would lie there, and President Biden actually gets the things done. And as we talk about President Biden's trip in Wisconsin, it is the perfect juxtaposition, the perfect contrast that we highlight. Do you care about reality? That's why we go, this really ain't about politics. Do you care about reality? Do you care about getting things done? Do you care about actual data and facts and doing things? Or do you just want a horrific and despicable snake oil salesman and a propaganda machine to just tell you a bunch of BS just because? We don't do that here on the MeidasTouch Network. We break it down with all of the facts. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Brett and Jordy. How you doing?
Great to be here, Ben. Great to be here, Jordy. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at, like you were saying, it's someone who actually does things versus somebody who just scams people 100% of the time. And so everything Donald Trump says, whether in court, out of court, everything, every action he takes is all a big scam. And I think it's really highlighted now more than ever. I mean, that side by side that we are seeing, especially in these past few days, of Donald Trump in the courtroom, stewing in his seat, literally cursing audibly in the courtroom, having to be reprimanded by the judges, begging the judge to just loosen his gag order so that he could attack the witness, so he could attack Stormy Daniels because he didn't like what she had to say, and just all of these antics. And then you see President Biden out in Wisconsin actually getting stuff done. I think it was very powerful that this factory is actually being built in the same exact place that Trump said that he was going to have this Foxconn factory built in and promised all of these jobs. All he ended up doing was displacing residents in Wisconsin. Like he bulldozed people's homes. It's the most Trumpian thing. Bulldozed people's homes. He stood there with a gold shovel, and here's a photo for those watching of him holding a gold shovel. This promised, I'm building the 8th wonder of the world, and then nothing happened. It never happened. It was all a scam. It was all a scam. I tried to think of like a theme throughout these episodes. I think the scheme today, scams, and we're going to see a lot of them here from Donald Trump. Jordy, what's up, man?
Were you John Mulaney theming the episode? I like it. I dig it. There we go. Can you pull up that picture of Trump one more time for the viewers? I mean, it looks like the man has never held a shovel in his life. He looks wildly uncomfortable. Just humiliating. I'm excited to get into it, but Ben kind of buried the lead. Ben, I heard you bring it up during Beatdown, so I'm just going to bring it up here. We got a big wedding coming up, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. We have a big wedding coming up.
Let's go, Big Bro.
I am getting married on May 18th. That's one day also before my birthday, where I turned 39 on May 19th. So we've got all of our family coming in. And yes, I am truly excited. The love of my life, Sochi Marine. We will have photographs there. We will share it. We will share it with the Meidas Mighty. So Jordy, thanks.
I can't wait. A little bit of payback from when you guys went behind the scenes at my wedding when I was all crying and stuff, and you guys just blasted those to the internet when I got my phone back. I'm like, okay, I didn't know we were posting photos, but that's cool.
We did post the crying Jordy meme. A crying Jordy photo. I'm upset that it never became a meme.
It easily can. It still can. That's the beauty about the internet.
We could bring it back. Meme crying Jordy.
Well, not crying, but Donald Trump whining over and over again in the criminal trial in Manhattan. A few hours ago, after Donald Trump and his lawyers tried to argue in favor of a mistrial based on the testimony from Stormy Daniels that they elicited on cross-examination, which Justice Merchan was like, what are you talking? You asked her these questions. You've made it, for reasons that are unclear to me, a part of your defense that your interactions with her never occurred. and that she's making it up. So of course she has to be able to talk about it if your theme is that this never happened and she's a liar and she's making it up. And by the way, Donald Trump, your lawyer, Susan Necheles, first and foremost, didn't object to almost anything while the prosecutor was asking questions on direct. The judge says, I stepped in at one point in time when Stormy Daniels was talking about how you said that you would take her out of the trailer park if she was slept with you or whatever. I objected as the judge for your lawyer. Suicide on my own. Lawyer should have objected, but that was it. I was the one who jumped in there. So I don't know why your lawyer, and just looking at the lawyer right there, didn't make objections. Miss Necheles, he said, that's her name. Miss Necheles, I have to say, I was shocked by your conduct. I was very surprised. And then, Miss Necheles, you proceeded to ask Stormy Daniels about all of these questions, and you asked her about the films that she was in and the films that she made, and whether because she made films like that has a script, that the script was like that she makes up scripts. And you asked her these questions where, of course, she's going to respond with some level of specificity. So, like, what are you even talking about? Mistrial motion denied. And then Donald Trump stormed out of the courtroom, quite literally, and then started whining how unfair it was and how unfair he was treated. Take a look at this when Donald Trump lashed out at the judge after today's trial. Play the clip.
Thank you very much. Everybody saw what happened today. I don't think we have to do any explaining. I'm not allowed to anyway, because this judge is corrupt. He's a corrupt judge. This judge, what he did and what his ruling was, is a disgrace. Everybody saw what happened today. He's a corrupt judge, and he's totally conflicted. And I got to get back on the campaign trail. I'm not supposed to be here. We are so innocent. There's never been anything like it. Read every single analyst, legal analyst. I'm innocent, and I'm being held in this court with a corrupt judge who's totally conflicted. Take a look at his conflict. It's a disgrace to the city of New York, to the state of New York, and to the country. Thank you very much.
You know, the state bar of New York looked into the conflict because Justice Merchan disclosed that they're saying there's a conflict. I don't think there is, but State Bar of New York, if you think that basically I'm not allowed to have a daughter who has a job, then I'll leave this case. But you can tell me that. And the State Bar was like, yeah, that's not a conflict. That doesn't exist. The fact that your daughter has some job in politics and has worked in places, if that was the standard, then judges would be disqualified from quite literally everything. If you're held to the standard of if you have kids and they work in locations. And so there is no conflict. Innocent people don't say, I'm so innocent. I'm so innocent. One of the things that Donald Trump's lawyers asked Justice Merchan was for permission to attack Stormy Daniels afterwards, and to, like, that was actually a request that they made. And here's the thing, you know, if Trump could say, look, this event happened, we did this, we entered into a settlement, I made the payment, I didn't know how it was categorized, and you know, you can't hold me for that. I clicked the wrong button. But of course, I engaged in this behavior. I did it. I wasn't proud of it. But you know, I didn't intend to do anything criminal, right? If that's what if he went there, I'm not giving him advice because he's already didn't go there. He's not listening to this advice. Anyway, it's too late. So that's why I could talk about it now. At least there would be a cognizable defense, right? Their whole thing is the Fox defense or the Newsmax defense or the OAN defense. And they're trying that in a court. None of this ever happened. Quite literally nothing. And does it matter that you've seen the checks, the text messages? It doesn't matter that Stormy Daniels has Donald Trump's bodyguard's number, Keith Schiller's number in the phone, that there are text messages, that there's on the file from Donald Trump's controller for 40 years, 130,000 reimbursed to Cohen, gross it up by 2, add this payment. Like, just ignore all of that. None of this is actually happening. and everybody's a liar. And it's one big giant effort to go and get Donald Trump. That's what they're running with right now. And so it's like, it's like, how offensive can you be?
I mean, how offensive could you be? There is one way that if you really want to respond to Stormy Daniels, if you want to respond to all the allegations made against you, guess what? There's an opportunity within the court of law for you to do this. It's called you get up on the witness stand, you swear an oath, and you testify to those things. So why are you, Donald Trump, why are you so afraid to, under oath, say that these things with Stormy Daniels never happened? Why do you only want to do it outside of court in these extrajudicial statements? And so I think Justice Merchan, he was like, I can't trust your client with this. You think I could trust your client after everything he did? And also acknowledge that this is not just about even protecting Stormy Daniels. It's about protecting all of the witnesses in this case. If the witnesses in this case know that they're coming on this stand, and then immediately once they leave, all of a sudden the gag order is that Donald Trump is allowed to attack them, that is going to be intimidating to these witnesses. And Donald Trump just wants to continue to bully and intimidate these witnesses. I like how he always says, like, oh, all the legal experts say that I'm right. And then when he ends up citing people, he cites like Sean Hannity, Tom Fitton, who's not an attorney, but wears very tight t-shirts on Fox News. Like these are his legal experts who say it. I think most legal experts, anybody of good faith would have to admit that this is a very strong case. Witness after witness that has come to the stand has corroborated all of each other's stories in this matter, which I think has been very, very powerful. And by the way, I'm also a little upset at a lot of the ways that not only like you expect the Trump people to say certain things about Stormy Daniels' testimony about, oh, woe is me, it's so salacious. But seeing like media personalities on TV say things like that to me, like it really honestly bothers me. And it was like the attacks, and we'll get into the attacks from Susan Nicholas as well, that you were hinting at before against Stormy Daniels. But it really felt like, what Trump's attorneys were doing is they were trying to say, because you work in the adult film industry, you cannot be trusted. Because you have appeared in adult films, you cannot be trusted. You are beneath us. You are beneath me. And I thought that was absolutely, like sickening to do that to her, to say that to her. And then to have people say, oh, all this testimony is so salacious. She's giving her experience, and it's a powerful experience. It's a powerful testimony. And the reason that she has to do that is because Donald Trump and his attorneys are calling her a liar. They're saying that she made up the whole thing. So if you're going to say this woman made up the whole thing, then you have to accept that she is going to defend herself, and she is going to try to corroborate her story to ensure that the jury trusts her. And so that's what we were seeing playing out. And you had this interesting mix today of her there, and then some other witnesses that were kind of more, dealing with more kind of black and white issues of checks being signed and things like that, which ironically were probably even more important to actually the case itself. But I think Stormy Daniels did an incredible job on the stand today. And I really, really, really resent anyone for denigrating her because of her line of work. I just think it's simply like disgusting. It's 2024. Like, what are we doing here?
Absolutely, yeah. Brett. And you're so right. And I just want to add this too, to your point, Brett, about just having legal experts actually talk and diagnose this case. And we're just so lucky here on the MeidasTouch Network to have Ben and Karen Friedman-Agnifilo and Michael Popok and all the lawyers that we have on the channel. Ben, your pre and post coverage with Karen is incredible. And I highly recommend that if any Meidas Mighty out there has not seen the coverage each day that they do before the trial and then after the trial, like definitely check that out, because those breakdowns from Karen and yourself, Ben, are amazing.
Well, look, to have Karen Friedman-Agnifilo lead our Trump criminal trial coverage here, she previously served as the acting Manhattan District Attorney. She was the #2 as well in the Manhattan District Attorney's office. She worked in that office for almost 30 years. She's appeared before Justice Merchan. She's tried countless cases to jury verdict. She's tried cases to jury verdict in front of Justice Merchan. She knows the court well, and now she's in private practice as a criminal defense lawyer, so she gives it from all perspectives. If there are aspects of the testimony that are favorable for Trump, or that the prosecution has not made their case out on certain issues. Karen addresses it in an objective way, and she's been methodically going through it. And she says this, at this point, she goes, even right now, the prosecution has established beyond a reasonable doubt that a crime has been committed, that Trump has committed the crime, that Trump's crime of falsification of business records was also done in connection with efforts at tax fraud. And the one piece that she says she's waiting to see from a few other witnesses is the to attempt to interfere with the election. All the prosecution would have to show was it to hide tax fraud, and that's what makes it from a misdemeanor to a felony. And she even thinks, as of right now, those elements have been met. And also, she was a sex crimes prosecutor, and so she's dealt with victims and have prosecuted men who have denied that the acts take place, because that's the only defense in cases like that's usually asserted. And here, Jordy, in your point, when Karen Freeman Agnifilo was chatting with me, first and foremost this morning, the key thing she said is, remember this phrase, opening the door. Opening the door. Will Trump lawyers open the door to allow Stormy Daniels to say things by questioning her? And then at the end of the day, that's exactly what Justice Merchan was talking about. You open the door, Susan Nicholas, on your cross-examination. Here's Karen Freeman Agnifilo and I talking about the testimony by Stormy Daniels. And here's what KFA had to say. Play the clip.
And, look, she also talked about Trump's wife, that, Trump said that, Melania is very beautiful, but we don't sleep in the same room. Apparently Trump shook his head at that point. She talked about, the whole thing about, he asked her about condoms and does she wear condoms as a porn star? Of course, everyone knows he's a germaphobe. Then like at one point, before they have sex, he's like, he reminds me of Ivanka. I realize the context that it was in, it seemed like it made sense. But when you know that he then had sex with her afterwards, it's so disgusting. I don't know. But
as Peter Henline says, who's a DeSantis supporter, quote, you remind me of my daughter because she is smart and blonde and beautiful is a very, very strange thing for a man to say to a adult film actress that he is engaging in the acts with that Donald Trump did. Very strange. And then he has the photos of them. We're not going to play him here, but hat tip to Brett for doing the videos of, so there's those Kendrick Lamar v. Drake rap battles taking place. And Brett's been taking the Kendrick Lamar diss tracks and has been showing Donald Trump's abhorrent behavior over the years, directed at his family, the Epstein connection and all of that. So I could tell people, go and search that on our social media. We're not going to play.
It's on our YouTube shorts, and it's on our Twitter, and it's on our Instagram, and it's on our TikTok. So you could find it. We did two of the Kendrick Drake diss tracks, and I got to say they're really good. They're horrifying, and they're very revealing about just how disgusting that this man is.
One of the things that we also broke on MeidasTouch.com, our editorial team broke the news that Alina Habba, after Stormy testified, Habba was going on all the right-wing media, Fox and others, and she was attacking Stormy Daniels. And so we were all looking at the gag order, and the gag order clearly says that Donald Trump is prevented from attacking witnesses, the jury, and family members of the prosecution. Like, why would you even do that in the first place? It's like, what's such a ridiculous thing.
What a wild thing to have to put in there.
What a wild thing to have to even be told that you shouldn't attack the jury, witnesses, and family members of like the prosecution. Like even the mob and mafia doesn't do that. But Trump is also prevented from directing others to do it, because obviously if you can get around it by having your spokesperson do it on your behalf, like clearly that would not make there would be no point to the gag order. So one of the things that we pointed out, we did a video, we did a story about it, is she's Trump's legal spokesperson. She has his authority to speak on the news about cases, and she's attacking witnesses, and that's improper. That should be improper and be violative of the gag order. So we published that. And then earlier today, we have this video of Alina Habba after we broke our story. Here's what Alina Habba had to say. Play this clip.
How is the prosecution's star witness allowed to say anything that he wants, and then the former president is not allowed to respond?
Because we have a dual system of justice and a very unconstitutional gag order. As his legal spokeswoman, I'm nervous about what I can't say, and that's also unconstitutional. The fact that they will not let a defendant speak and exercise his First Amendment rights, never mind the leading candidate for president, that is un-American. It violates his First Amendment rights. And yes, yesterday we filed something in the appellate division to appeal this completely ridiculous order. Hopefully the appellate division will see that it is unconstitutional, as we say it is. And the American people definitely already do.
Look, I can't wait for a time in our politics where these super annoying people are just gone from our politics and they could go back to being annoying in their own annoying bubbles. Like, be annoying when you practice law, whatever annoying practice you have. Can you just stay out of our politics where people's lives are on the line? Like, she couldn't even say what she was saying there made no sense.
I think she said it's unconstitutional that she's nervous. I think that's unconstitutional. And then gag orders are unconstitutional. Like, she doesn't make any sense. And she clearly saw our reporting because she was attacking Stormy on Fox like repeatedly the other night. We did a whole kind of expose and broke down why we believe that to actually be a violation of the gag order. Because, I mean, if you think about it, if Donald Trump put out a press release that said the same exact things that Alina Habba said, it would be indisputable, right? So why is paying somebody, basically paying a walking press release, paying somebody to do your press for you, somebody who goes on as your literal mouthpiece, who is listed as Donald Trump's spokesperson on all these shows, legal spokesperson, to go and send them to attack people? And then, I have a theory too, and we can maybe get into this after, but I think the other people who are showing up at the court today, we saw Rick Scott, the Florida Republican senator. We saw Jeanine Pirro, the Trump-obsessed, very strange lady who's always drunk, purportedly, on Fox. And I think, honestly, Donald Trump is having a lot of these people come in also to act as his attack dogs. And I'm curious to see if there's any communication between Trump's team and somebody like Rick Scott to say, come, so that you could stand out in front of the court when the cameras come and you could attack Stormy Daniels. You could attack this person because we can't. Because I think that's a kind of part of a strategy of getting all these people to the court, honestly.
Impact reporting right there. You see what MeidasTouch Network is doing to expose this corruption, to expose what's going on, that corporate media is not touching. And maybe they're complicit, maybe they're lazy, maybe it's all of the above, but we're going to cover it here. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. If you want to help support the growth of this independent media platform, patreon.com/MEIDASTOUCH. I think you can see the impact that you are actually having, contributing to this independent journalism. When we come back, we've got a lot more to discuss. Brett, I want to hear a little bit more of your theory. I want to talk about some more portions of this cross-exam of Stormy Daniels. I'll take you all through that. Then let's go to this Trump Mar-a-Lago NFT event, which was nothing but incredibly bizarre. Let's talk about Trump's local news interviews in Pennsylvania, which is nothing but bizarre and outright dangerous. Then we'll take you to Indiana, what's going on there. And then we'll take you to Wisconsin, where President Biden is getting things done. Let's take our first break of the show.
Support for today's episode comes from Hexclad. I love my Hexclad so much. And you guys, Mother's Day is right around the corner. So give your mom the gift of ease and show her just how much she means to you with Hexclad cookware. I promise your kid brother's macaroni painting will not come close to the joy of opening a new set of Hexclad. Hexclad cookware is designed to simplify your time in the kitchen while adding a touch of elegance to every meal. Hexclad has revolutionized the cookware industry with an all-in-one hybrid pan that gives you the convenience and cleanup of nonstick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and the durability to last a lifetime. Really, Hexclad cookware has a lifetime warranty. Treat yourself or your mom to a kitchen companion that not only simplifies those long cooking and cleanup routines, but also guarantees culinary perfection every time. Even the great Gordon Ramsay, known to many as a bit of a critic, only trusts Hexclad pots and pans in both his home and in all of his Michelin star restaurants. If it's good enough for Gordon, we think your mom will be satisfied here. And for a limited time, Hexclad is giving our listeners 10% off your order with our exclusive link. Just go to hexclad.com/Meidas, show your support, and check them out at hexclad.com/Meidas. Hexclad has been a complete game changer for me in the kitchen. My chef friends would always talk about Hexclad, so when I finally got the set, I was thrilled, and now I totally get it. I completely understand why they talk about it nonstop. The other day, I made this halibut piccata in my Hexclad, and it came out amazing, perfectly cooked, perfect sear, no issue with the fish sticking or burning the sauce or any of the problems that I would normally run into with other pans. Hexclad's 6-piece set, it's the perfect starter bundle to enjoy the incredible versatility of their products. It features 3 of their most popular pans with an accompanying lid that can handle all of your pan cooking, and you don't have to settle on any of the usual pitfalls of buying pots and pans because Hexclad brings together the performance of stainless steel, the durability of cast iron, and the convenience of nonstick all in one thanks to Hexclad's hybrid technology. Hexclad's patented laser-etched hexagonal steel ridges boost your searing power, plus they're metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and oven safe up to 500 degrees. They are induction ready and even have a stay cool handle so you could saute with ease, and Hexclad has a lifetime warranty. As I said before, they're literally the last sets of pots and pans you will ever have to buy. Hexclad is a gift you could get your mom that lasts a lifetime. So trust me when I say your mom, your partner, your family, and all dinner guests will thank you. So chef, now's the time to upgrade your kitchen. For a limited time only, our listeners get 10% off your order with our exclusive link. Just head to hexclad.com/Meidas. Support our show. Check them out. hexclad.com/Meidas. Bon appetit. Let's eat with Hexclad's revolutionary cookware. Elevate your cooking game to new heights with Hexclad.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. And we cover it here on the MeidasTouch Network. The problem is that AI, it needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds. It offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing. And of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber 8x8 and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/Meidas. That's oracle.com/Meidas. oracle.com/Meidas.
Let's go. Shout out to the pro-democracy sponsors, y'all. Descriptions in the link of this YouTube video and as well as in the podcast feed. So click them right there. Use the code. We work hard on those deals. They're great deals. Brett, real quick, the Hexclad reed. That you're holding the pan in the reed. That's the pan from the video from your Instagram story that you made the other day. That looked awesome.
It is indeed. That is the world famous pan from my Instagram story where I made when I was making the halibut piccata, which came out amazing, by the way. And everyone was I see the comments. I see everyone says more Brett Reeds, more Brett Reeds.
Absolutely.
So Jordy, sometimes you got to give the people
what they want. I love it, B. And Ben, amazing Oracle read. Shout out, click the links. You guys got
this. Not as
this.
good as the Brett Reed. I'm just kidding.
No, I think they were both equal. I think they were both equally as good. Trump trial day 14, we're in week 4, a stormy day, stormy cross-examination, Stormy Daniels redirect. We thought that she handled it very well, and a very bad day for Trump's lawyer, Susan Nicholas, who was not only ineffective.
Surprised me, to be honest.
Not only ineffective, yeah, she was. I was told she was a good lawyer. Not only ineffective on cross-exam, Stormy Daniels really dominated the cross-exam, which is kind of like an odd thing because usually a skilled trial lawyer would do a decent job cross-examining someone, and not there. And then Susan Nicholas basically got admonished in front of Donald Trump for not doing her job effectively and not objecting when the judge said, hey, I thought you were going to object to certain points. You didn't object, so I'm not doing your job for you. So Stormy Daniels testified. Then we had Rebecca Minocchio, a bookkeeper from the Trump organization. She testified about processes and procedures of when Donald Trump was disgracing the Oval Office, sending checks for Donald Trump to sign at the White House. But there was another set of checks that she had to send directly to Keith Schiller, Donald Trump's personal bodyguard. Those went to a different location to be brought to Donald Trump. And we believe those, of course, were the ones that Donald Trump signed where he falsified the business records. Then you had Tracy Menzies, a HarperCollins exec, testified. She was a custodian of records. She went through, because Donald Trump is not agreeing to authenticate his own books. He's distancing himself from his own words. She had to show more Donald Trump books about the types of things that he would say, like hire the best, but don't trust them at all. Make sure you review each and every record, micromanage everything, things like that, showing that if the defense is going to claim that Donald Trump would just let other people do it and he was not aware of these checks, that basically kind of counters any argument that the defense would try to make there. Then they had Madeleine Westerhout, or how she testified, Trump's executive assistant, and then she worked in the White House, and her desk was right next to the Oval Office. People who were there say Trump scored some points with her because she still, she got fired for apparently making statements about Tiffany Trump's physical appearance, but she still has this affection for Donald Trump for whatever reason. She still, likes Donald Trump and the Trump family. So she said nice things about him for a few minutes, and so people were saying, "Oh, so she was good there." But if that's like the best that you can get during a trial, that's not really, all that good, because the key things that the prosecution called her to testify was how close Donald Trump and Michael Cohen were during the relevant time period, and how they were on good terms, and Trump liked Cohen, and she would observe them having all of these meetings together. So if they're trying to discredit Cohen, all of these meetings were corroborated by her. She testified how Dan Scavino, the deputy communications director at the White House, who also worked on the Trump campaign, how he was responsible for writing Donald Trump's tweets and social media posts. He would bring them over to Donald Trump, and Trump would add exclamation points to it. And they were the only two people who controlled Donald Trump's social media. So she established that. She established that Trump, because she would have the call logs to Donald Trump, how when she'd be on some calls, Trump would call Alan Weisselberg to ask questions about the hush money payment checks. So that was important testimony. And then she corroborated a Hope Hicks text message to her about David Pecker and Trump wanting to speak to Pecker about the payments. Then there was that mistrial hearing at the end, which Justice Merchan rejected for all of the reasons I previously discussed. I'll just go through briefly some of the parts on the cross-exam from Susan Necheles, where she was asking Stormy Daniels, so you've acted in more than 200 adult films. You directed over 150 of them. So you have a lot of experience making phony stories up about sex, huh? And Stormy Daniels would be like, wow, that's not how I would put it. The sex in the films is very much real, just like what happened to me in the room with Donald Trump. So you memorize fictional stories and you repeat them. Isn't that right? And Stormy Daniels would be like, the scripts, not the actual sex. Pretty sure we all know how to do that. Then there was this other weird line of cross-exam where Susan Necheles was like, so you went to the hotel room, you thought you were going out to dinner, even though you spent 3 hours, you never ate dinner? And then she's like, yeah, we never ate. But you wrote in your book, I was freaking hungry, and you made a point of that in the interviews. Stormy Daniels, I mean, it was dinner time. I was hungry. We talked about ordering food and going to get food, but it just never happened. I went to dinner and I didn't get dinner. I'm not sure why that's so hard to understand. And that was the type of cross-exam. And then the other type of cross-exam was when Susan Necheles would say, isn't it true that you said that you hoped you would be instrumental in putting Trump in jail? And Stormy Daniels said, show me where I've ever said I want to be instrumental in putting him. I don't think I've ever said that. So then she shows Stormy Daniels something, which is like some weird Twitter troll account called the Pink Elephant Room from last March. Michael Cohen and @Stormy Daniels, aka the Human Toilet, are there star witnesses? So Necklace shows this to Stormy Daniels, and Stormy Daniels notes that she's replying to someone calling her a human toilet. She goes, someone's calling me a human toilet, so I'm making a joke back to someone calling me a human toilet. I never said instrumental. Like, what are you talking about? So that was just when I say like disastrous cross, I'm not just, unlike right-wing media, it's not like I'm just saying it was a disaster. I want to show you specific portions of why I think it was you may agree, you may disagree, but that's why I think it was a disaster. All right. Also a disaster. Also, dare I say, a human toilet. Mar-a-Lago at this NFT event. Mar-a-Lago, the human toilet and a crime scene. This was the event right there. You see some photos for those watching. There's some of the guests there. We did a review. Our editorial team really digs deep. They looked at the bag and found out it was a 450 in Hermes. I hope I'm saying it right. Hermes Birkin. You're
crushing it.
Hermes Croc Birkin bag. So there's the kind of people chilling.
I think it's Hermes.
I thought it was Hermes. I don't think you pronounced the H.
Okay. Well, anyway, so Trump at Mar-a-Lago NFT event on Wednesday, Donald Trump gave a speech and he was bragging about solving math problems to prove he's not in cognitive decline. Let's play this clip if we got it.
But they also asked other questions. They say 2,347 and 2,913 divided by 2, multiplied times 4, divided again by 7, multiplied by 9, right? What's your answer? And I got it right.
You're a genius.
You're a genius. Wow. By the way, the actual question is count back from 100 by subtracting 7. Is the actual question, and he turned it into this extra convoluted thing. I mean,
that's what I was saying in the intro. It's like you take 2,397. Just look at this. By the way, why he is like a fourth, no offense to petulant fourth grader. I feel like when I first discovered a calculator, I would go 3,200 times 403 times 64 times divided by 2 multiplied. I'm like the first time I discovered what a calculator is here.
Just look at this scene.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's got a really good personality.
By the way, while he's got people there with $450,000 Hermes Croc bags, you had that Washington Post exclusive as well today about Trump just straight up promising oil executives that if they gave his campaign $1 billion, he would remove all of the things that President Biden's been doing with electric vehicles and trying to help climate change.
Is that even legal to?
You give me $1 billion oil execs. I mean, as Governor Gavin Newsom said, he goes, have we just accepted this as the new norm? Big oil is literally writing up executive orders for Donald Trump to sign on day one with a promise of $1 billion in return. He's giving away our planet in return for our cash. Not even just giving away our planet. He's giving away good business. Electric vehicles is the wave of the future for better jobs. Clean energy is a job creating plan. You can't just be for horse and buggies. Technology evolves. We need to be the leaders of cutting edge technology. But Gavin Newsom's rhetorical question, have we just accepted this as the new norm? With these clips we're showing you at Mar-a-Lago, here's another one from Wednesday at an event where Trump's talking about, okay, I'm not cognitively declined, because another tough question was a lion, giraffe, a bear, and a horse. Here, play this clip.
Not easy. They show you the first question, which is a lion, a giraffe, a bear, and a frickin' horse. And they say, which one is the lion? And that's right.
And here he is talking about to the people there. He goes, where are my rich people at? Where are my rich people at? Here, take a look at what he says. Here, play this clip.
Look, I have all my rich people. Look, see those people? That guy, see, they're shaking hands on a deal. Look, they just shook hands on a $10 billion deal. They're trying to figure out how do they get advertising like that?
They just shook hands on a $10 billion deal. And quite literally, everything he says is a lie.
I want to remind you, too, that remember in the courtroom, Donald Trump says, I'm here, but I could be campaigning, and they're keeping me away from the campaign trail. Guess what? Instead of campaigning, Donald Trump was holding an NFT event for people who bought NFTs of photos of him, fake photos of him in spacesuits and as a cowboy.
I'm not sure if you saw this, too, on the table, the tables for this NFT event. Trump had these brochures for the Trump sneakers, those like ridiculously ugly fake gold sneakers, saying 10% off sneakers for NFT card holders. Like, just think about that the leader of the Republican Party was holding an NFT event where he's then telling the people that they can get his fake gold sneakers with a 10% discount for purchasing the NFT trading cards of himself. How bizarre. But then Trump also gave earlier this week some local interviews with local Pennsylvania TV networks. Here's one of them where he's asked about, would you be okay with states monitoring women's pregnancies? Monitoring women's pregnancies. Are you good with states doing that? Here's Donald Trump's response.
Running that say that you would support certain states with bans monitoring a woman's pregnancy.
Well, that would be up to the states. Again, they will make a decision as to how they do it.
I go back to Gavin Newsom's statement. Have we just accepted this as the new norm? Is this just something that, look, Trump's saying it. Look at what Trump's saying. So, we don't take what he says seriously. Of course, we should not accept this at the new norm. States monitoring women's pregnancies? Are you kidding me? They're not. That's actually the platform of MAGA Republicans. One other point I'll make too, and I'll show the image in just a little bit as well. Like, just think about this. 2 days ago, Donald Trump posted a meme from a QAnon account on his social media platform, blaming his own former Vice President Pence with election interference on a meme with President Biden. And I think it says guilty on President Biden's head, and Nancy Pelosi. Just think about that. Could you imagine if for a moment President Biden made one post with Kamala Harris on a meme accusing her of committing crimes? And the fact that that will never even get talked about anywhere other than the MeidasTouch network. I go back to what Gavin Newsom says. We just accepted this as the new norm, that no one's even right. Look, hat tip, for example, to some of the media who writes these big stories. And I want to give a hat tip, to the Washington Post, who, by the way, is one of the, sponsors the MeidasTouch network with some of our shows. I thought that was a good story. What Trump promised oil CEOs as he asked them to steer $1 billion to his campaign. It's a great story they broke. But with the Times, in the New York Times, everything is a problem, right, for President Biden. This is a problem. That is a problem. That's how the New York Times writes all of this is a problem. That's a problem. Like the fact that the Times won't cover the fact that Trump is posting memes attacking his former vice president who won't endorse him, accusing him of crimes. And that's just like, he just posts a lot of things. And it's a QAnon account. It's an account from a literal death cult. By the way, at that event, what Trump was also doing on Wednesday, he gave himself an award for his J6 anthem song. For like a very short period of time, it climbed on the Billboard charts. So Trump was celebrating his new version of the national anthem that he sang with the J6 insurrectionists, who he calls hostages.
Ugh.
Have we just accepted this as the new norm? We better not. I don't care what political party you're from. That ain't normal. And what we need now is normalcy. Support our independent journalism here at the MeidasTouch Network. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Let's take our last quick break of the show. You may assume that you're getting everything your body needs from your diet or a simple green juice, but I recently discovered that most people, including myself, are still short on essential nutrients our bodies need to function at our best. So I've been taking Momentous Creatine Omega-3 and Protein daily to ensure that all my bases are covered. These 3 supplements support nearly every aspect of my foundational health, from aiding my cognitive function to reducing inflammation in my muscles and joints, just to name a few. My Momentous Daily Protocol has become a staple in my health routine and makes the perfect addition to the other wellness products that are part of my toolkit. Supplements can feel like dirty words, I know, and navigating the space can be daunting due to the lack of trust and transparency, but I've come to learn that I can trust Momentous, which makes the decision much easier. My trust is in Momentous because of their dedication to working with the best, from their collaboration with experts to their unparalleled commitment to only using the highest quality ingredients. They also heavily invest in third-party testing, holding their products to the standards set by the most demanding organizations in the world, including the NFL and the NBA, ensuring that what's on the label is what's in the product and absolutely nothing else. They call it the Momentous standard, which is really the industry's leading standard in quality. There's a reason why the world's best athletes and experts use and help develop Momentous products. So if you are like me and you want to take supplements that are made by and used by the best in the world, go to livemomentous.com and use the code MeidasTouch to get up to 36% off your first subscription order. And if you don't feel like subscribing, you can still use our code to get 20% off all of my favorite products. That's livemomentous.com with the code MeidasTouch. One more time, it's livemomentous.com. Use the code MeidasTouch.
Have you ever wished that you had a whiter and brighter smile? Well, before you visit a dentist, you should know that their whitening treatments can be very expensive. And it's not just the price. You also have to book the appointment and schedule time away from work or your family to just sit in a dentist's office chair while undergoing the procedure. Look, it's a hassle. Fortunately, now you can try Smile Actives at home or anywhere, anytime. Smile Actives offers a safe and an affordable alternative to those expensive whitening procedures. You may not have known this, but I won Best Smile in high school, and it's a lot of pressure to keep up with that. So throughout my adulthood, I used a variety of different whitening agents, and honestly, they were complicated, messy, and they didn't work. Having a nice bright smile is so important. First impressions and all that. You know what they say. That's why I'm so happy I found Smile Actives. Now, Smile Actives makes a teeth whitening gel that can simply be added to your toothpaste every time you brush your teeth. So no change in your routine, no extra time, and no more messy strips, trays, or lights. Simply add Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel to your regular toothpaste. It's been formulated with polyclean technology to boost stain removal and deliver active whitening ingredients into teeth's grooves and crannies to get better whitening. 97% of Smile Actives users in a clinical trial reported up to 6 shades whiter on average, all within 30 days. People will start commenting on your whiter, brighter smile in just days. Visit smileactives.com/Meidas today to receive a special buy one, get one free offer with auto delivery plus free shipping and handling. That's smileactives.com/Meidas. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Let's go. Shout out to the pro-democracy sponsors, Smile Actives. Guys, I don't know if you know this. We're like one of the only podcasts that they're on. They kind of just run on TV. So they love the network, big fans. Yeah, and they're on the show. So definitely check that out if you're looking for a whiter, brighter smile. Live Momentous, baby. That's a new sponsor for the network. I'm excited. Ben, fabulous read. Check them out. They have some great omega-3s. They have some great creatine. Whatever you're into, they have it for you. It's all incredible products, and definitely read more about it on their websites. And Ben, real quick. So what you're saying before we went to break is that people shouldn't do their reporting or their coverage based on polls. You're saying that's not like using faulty polls as a way to guide your coverage is a bad way to do reporting, correct?
I see where you're going.
Yeah. Well, I'm also saying that coverage, you should cover the things that are happening in front of you. And I just happen to think, and call me old-fashioned. Call me old-fashioned.
Old-fashioned Ben.
call me an old spirit here, but when a leader of a political party makes a post like this about the current president, the former Speaker of the House, and their own former vice president from an account that is known for QAnon memes, that I don't know. I just happen to think that this may be problematic. Call me old-fashioned, but if I'm running a media network and the former vice president to someone who's leading the party is not endorsing them and says that they are not qualified to be in office, former vice president, and then that person makes a post saying that your own former vice president is stealing an election. Maybe let me say it this way. What if there was a text message that was uncovered? Because maybe the media wants to hear it in this terms. What if you did a public records request and you got 1 million documents and you were going through the documents, and then in the documents you saw Donald Trump say, Pence was trying to steal the election from me, and he conspired with President Biden and the former Democratic Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, that they're part of a cabal, and you found that. Then I think it would probably make the because did you have to discover that? Why, when they are telling you who they are right there, can't you just say, hey, take a look at this, everybody? That's the part that Trump's been able to master. And he shouldn't be, because it's the stupidest thing in the world. It's right in front of us. So call it out about what it is. And then what Trump can do is he projects his things on the other people, and then the media writes it about the other people. And I'm just thinking, hey, it's pretty freaking easy to put up the photo. Here, Brett, put up the photo. Abracadabra. Voila. Like, that didn't exactly take much exertion of effort for me to point it up. How about this? Have you seen tonight on any of the major networks or any of the corporate media or any of the media at all that Donald Trump made multiple videos of himself attacking Jewish people today and just saying, if you're Jewish and you vote against me, shame on you, like over and over again? Like, are you seeing that in a lot of places? That one didn't cut it, because seems to be a pretty big significant point to make. Abracadabra.
If you're Jewish and you vote for him, I say shame on you.
What Biden is doing with respect to Israel is disgraceful. If any Jewish person voted for Joe Biden, they should be ashamed of themselves.
And if Jewish people are going to vote for Joe Biden, they have to have their head examined.
This is really sick. It's a really, really, really sick. I censored myself there. He's a real sicko. He's a real sicko. It's so offensive. It's one of the most offensive things you could possibly say. I cannot fathom what the reporting would be like if Joe Biden said that. It is absolutely just, it's horrible. It's horrible to attack Jewish Americans in that way. They should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. Anyone who votes for you should be ashamed. You are the scum of the earth, the bottom of the barrel. You are absolutely disgusting. Have some introspection. Jeez, like it makes, and honestly, it like really makes me angry, those clips. And all day today, he was on this all day, just attacking Jewish people. It's disgusting.
What about also Donald Trump saying that he would vote for President Biden over RFK? We got this clip here. Play this one.
I'd even take Biden over Jr. because our country would last about a year or two longer than it would with Jr. It would collapse almost immediately, and his family, a radical left, a crazy left, a bunch of lunatics, would take over, and our country will die very quickly. So RFK's views on vaccines are fake, as is everything else about his candidacy. He is not a Republican, so don't think you're going to vote for him and feel good. He's a radical left Democrat. Let the Democrats have RFK Jr. They deserve him.
The internal polling's got to be horrible, right? I mean, Trump and
monster
Trump,
they created on their own.
yeah, and I understand that there may be people out there who are trying to find, I don't like this person, I don't like that person. Let's try to find somebody else. But it's a binary choice that we have here in our elections, and you have Donald Trump, a criminal who tried to quite literally overthrow our country, and you have Joe Biden, who is getting things done, who's been one of the most successful presidents in history, who's passed some of the most legislation in history, who has done tangible things, whether it be on the economy or infrastructure or things like the CHIPS Act or things like helping our veterans. The list goes on and on and on. And when you have those two choices, the choice is very clear. And you have a guy, an RFK Jr., who quite literally is being propped up by all of the Trump money, like the Trump super PACs. You got the same donors. You got the Steve Bannon was pumping him up for a very long time. You had all these Trump acolytes pumping him up for a very long time. And now guess what they're finding out? They're finding out that RFK is taking away more votes from Trump than he is for Biden, because RFK's big thing is to be anti-vax and things like that. And those are things that appeal to Trump voters. And so now Trump is desperately trying to reverse course. And now he's attacking RFK. And it's interesting, if you go back and you look at interviews of RFK on like a show like Hannity, if you look at like him a year ago on Hannity also is propping him up. Oh, and just all of his various issues, like just very positively, right? Then RFK went on Hannity show again once they found out that not going so well for Donald to have RFK Jr. in the race. And what did we see there? Hannity, a huge tone shift, if you want to call it that. Hannity just like attacking the guy, calling him a radical liberal. Like it's like two different people, and it just shows you how also disingenuous their reporting is, and how the second that they view anything as a threat, what their move is, right? It's the same move as always. You're radical, you're left, you're liberal, you're this, you're that, and then you see, like I even saw, I'm not going to even repeat it, but one of these MAGA Republican Congress people wrote like one of the most horrific tweets, like about, there was the brainworms thing, which was an entertaining story about RFK Jr. that he literally has brainworms. But then this MAGA Republican congressman, big Trump supporter, wrote a thing comparing it to like JFK being shot. I'm not going to get into the details of it. It was like gross though.
These people are sadistic.
But they always go to like just the bottom of the barrel. It's and never apologize, and it just they thrive in like, how could we be as disgusting as possible?
That's
and I constantly want to be like, no matter who we're talking about here, like, can we please be decent? Can we go back to like decency and normalcy? And I hope that when folks watch the show, they understand that that's what we're pushing for above anything else. It's like, let's be decent human beings to each other. Okay, let's be normal. Okay, we don't need any of this crazy stuff. We want to actually get things done. We actually like when folks work together for the common good. We want people's lives to be improved by politics, because I think that should be why people go into politics in the first place.
And then wait, real quick, I'm sorry, Ben, but that video of Trump saying Junior so like angrily, like he's deep down, I think he's referring to a different Junior in his mind when he's getting that out of
his son. Probably got excited at first. He's talking about me
in a very negative light, though. And so an RFK, and we could get to this too when we hit on the Nikki Haley segment that I know we have coming up. It was a monster that they created in their own, RFK Jr. That, to your point, Brett, he kept appearing on all these right-wing talk shows as like trying to run some sort of dark campaign to mess up President Biden or whatnot. And all of the stories like, oh no, RFK Jr. going to derail President Biden. And not for 1 second have I ever thought that a Biden voter would be an RFK Jr. voter in any sense, just based on the guy's beliefs alone and what he puts out there into the ecosystem. You can't tell me that a single person who's like, hey, I'm going to vote for RFK Jr. is actually thinking to themselves, oh, I'm going to vote for Biden as well. No, they're way more closely aligned with the Trump voter. That's their friends. Those are the handshakes that they're doing than they are with a Biden voter. So to see Trump so scared about RFK Jr., a monster that they created on their own, they're professional rank steppers. They propped up his entire campaign as a way to try and derail Biden. It's not going to happen. It's only going to continue to hurt Trump as this proceeds.
Imagine this. Imagine if President Biden in a primary only got 78% of the vote, despite the fact that all of the other candidates who were running against him were out. Could you imagine the headlines? I actually can, because the media was telling us that that's what was going to happen. All of the primaries where President Biden cleared 90% of the vote. In some states, it was like 96% of the vote. In states that we were told that Biden was, going to struggle to clear 80%.
Imagine the think pieces, Ben. We all saw the think pieces that came out about how Biden was in trouble when those votes were coming in. But where are those same pieces, Ben, when Nikki Haley, who's not even running anymore, continues to overperform like night after night when these elections are going down over Donald Trump?
And we're talking about in Indiana.
Right.
In Indiana, we're talking about here. Where in the recent primaries, they're still going on apparently, Nikki Haley got 128,000 votes, 21%. And Donald Trump got 78.3%. Now, we saw similar numbers in Pennsylvania, and then we saw the recent primary in Pennsylvania that took place that we covered, which was a closed Republican primary in Pennsylvania. Data matters, and statistically significant data that we're seeing over and over again in all of these states is reflecting that Nikki Haley's getting around 20% of the votes or more still, which would indicate, it wouldn't have to be this inferential leap, that these are Republicans who are casting protest votes against Donald Trump because of issues of decency, his criminality, his attempt to overthrow democracy, his taking away women's reproductive rights. This was even on Fox Business on Donald Trump's underwhelming performance in Indiana. This is what they had to say. Let's play this clip.
Well, former President Trump capturing Indiana's Republican nomination Tuesday. Voters in the Hoosier state going to the polls to cast their ballots in the state's presidential and some state primaries. Trump secured 58 GOP delegates. Nikki Haley won nearly 22% of the vote, despite dropping out in March.
Look, they're at least covering it, for a short period of time. But if you go through this episode, you can see Trump's behavior, whether it's in the courtroom, outside of the courtroom, in Mar-a-Lago, in the videos he makes of himself, what he's posting on social media. Any one of those things and one moment of those things would derail any Democratic candidate, would derail President Biden, because there are standards, and we want people who are not just qualified, but size leadership qualities. Yet repeatedly, Trump engages in the behavior that we showed. Other hand, while the media wants to attack Biden and explain why all of these things are problems to President Biden, there was this contrast that took place in Wisconsin, where we just see President Biden doing the work. Like, think about the contrast that when Donald Trump came into office and disgraced the office, one of the first things he said is that he's building this Foxconn factory in Wisconsin that he never built, that he displaced people, that jobs weren't created, and President Biden actually got it done. Here's President Biden. Brett, I want you to take the segment, though, and show what President Biden did as my dogs are about to bark.
Sounds good. Yeah, well, we're talking about Wisconsin. Is that what your dogs are barking about? I'm hearing your dogs want to hear.
My dogs are really into this.
Your dogs are really into chips and technology. Okay, got it. So President Biden announced this $3.3 billion investment from Microsoft in Wisconsin, bringing this AI data center to Racine County. And as we were saying earlier, it's at the same exact site where Trump promised Wisconsinites back during his administration that we're going to have the eighth wonder of the world. We're going to have this amazing factory. There are going to be more than 13,000 jobs. It's going to be a manufacturing boom. Infrastructure week. Never happened. He said infrastructure week every week. Never happened. President Biden, on the other hand, actually happened. And we're now entered into a manufacturing super cycle, as they call it, because there are so many projects right now underway across the country. Here's that photo again of this was Trump's, the most that happened in Trump's infrastructure week. He picked up a shovel and knocked down people's homes and shoveled some dirt. That was that's the full extent of it. And then he celebrated. But let's go through like some of these clips. So President Biden, he knocked Donald Trump and Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin for that very stunt. Here's that clip.
Our country's proud manufacturing legacy. Well, we had Infrastructure Day every week for 4 years. Didn't build a damn thing. He and the administration promised a $10 billion investment by Foxconn to build a new manufacturing complex, create 13,000 new jobs. In fact, he came here with your Senator Ron Johnson, literally holding a golden shovel, promising to build the 8th wonder of the world. Are you kidding me? Look what happened. They dug a hole with those golden shovels, and then they fell into it. Look, they didn't shovel other dirt. They did shovel some dirt. 100 homes were bulldozed. They wasted hundreds of millions of dollars of your state and local tax dollars to promise a project that never happened. Foxconn turned out to be just that, a con. Go figure.
So this project that President Biden is actually responsible for is going to bring 2,300 union construction jobs and 2,000 permanent jobs to Wisconsin. Imagine telling people, like, I'm going to bring you all these jobs. I'm going to bring you this factory. And then you knock down their homes and you leave and there's no factory. Honestly, what Donald Trump did to people's lives just all across the board is horrible. CNN had an interview with President Biden, which probably made the New York Times very mad because they're very offended that they won't give them an interview. And on the interview, they asked him, like, why should people believe that you will succeed at creating jobs when Donald Trump failed at creating jobs? I'll play you this moment.
So Trump attended a groundbreaking here where we are for Foxconn. He promised 13,000 jobs, and only about 1,000 of those actually exist right now. So I know you're promising more than 2,000 union construction jobs and that 100,000 people are going to get trained in AI here. Why should people here believe that you will succeed at creating jobs where Trump failed?
He's never succeeded in creating jobs, and I've never failed. I've created over 15 million jobs since I've been president. 15 million. Trump he started off with the golden shovels,
For the groundbreaking
here. For the groundbreaking, and talked about this being, the 8th wonder of the world. When has he ever done anything he said? I'm not being facetious. Think about it. And look at what he says he's going to do if he gets elected. He says he's going to do away with what I've done on Medicare, reducing the price of Medicare drastically. He said he's going to do away with the Affordable Care Act. He said he's going to do it just down the line. So we have a very different view. I look at it from physician, not being facetious, from the Scranton perspective. He looks at it from Mar-a-Lago perspective.
Scranton versus Mar-a-Lago. It's like, how do you think why do you think you'd be able to create jobs and Donald Trump wouldn't? Because look at our records, man. Look at our records.
Because he didn't and I did. Like, just like what, and that's the thing too. It's like, why are we constructing a fake fantasy role-playing world that quite literally didn't happen when Trump was in office? Like, we know what those 4 years were. They actually happened. They were disastrous. Why are we even acting? Well, those were in those years. I remember those years. I know what's happening now. It's very different. There's facts, there's data, but what the power of propaganda is, you say it over and over and over and over and over again. Even the very premise of the question, why do you think you'll succeed while you're here and the factory's actually being opened, versus when he lied about it and it didn't happen?
Basically, when he held a shovel in his hand.
Because this happened and it didn't happen anyway.
Anyway, the president of Microsoft, Brad Smith, also weighed in on President Biden and the Biden administration's efforts to create jobs there. Let's play this.
I will say this. This administration has been enormously helpful. A project like this It requires the bipartisan infrastructure bill that was passed, the chips that will be produced in America through the CHIPS and Science Act, the clean technology that will benefit from the Inflation Reduction Act, this administration's commitment to safe and secure AI and cybersecurity more broadly. So we're pleased with the work we've done at the national level, all the way to the state with Governor Evers, the local village and county of Racine. Everybody has to work together. At the end of the day, that's how you get things done, whether you're a business or anybody else.
The contrast was so clear that not even Fox News could back out of it. And there was a very funny moment. I don't know if you caught it on Fox yesterday, between Papa Deuce and Little Deuce, between Steve Doocy and Peter Doocy. And just watch this. It's an interesting moment.
So, Peter, this new AI Microsoft thing, $3 billion, big job creators, that's in Racine. Isn't that the same town that Foxconn said, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, we're going to build a big plant, and they never did?
Yes, and that was a huge Trump announcement back then, and he said that the factory was going to be the 8th wonder of the world, but then Foxconn decided to really scale back their plans, and the land is still available, so Microsoft is going in.
It's going to be good for those people.
All right. Thank you, Peter.
When you have Fox reporting it, didn't it feel like Steve Doocy was almost trolling Peter Doocy?
Even the way Doocy goes, that was a big announcement. It's anybody can announce it.
Big announcement, Ben. Huge announcement.
And great.
It was a huge Trump announcement, but then Foxconn, it was their fault. But Trump's announcement, huge.
Did a great announcement. Did a great announcement. That's so funny.
Deuce was trolling Little Deuce, and I bet he got like a call later on the ride home, like, "Hey,
Dad, don't do that to me. Dad.
You embarrass me in front of dear leader."
There was a funny comment. Someone reposted the clip on our TikTok, and someone was like, an AI thingy majig, like a great reporting. What does he say at the beginning there? Just listen to how he talks about what the factory is.
So, Peter, this new AI Microsoft thing, $3 billion, big job creators.
This new AI Microsoft thing, like, you're a reporter, like you could talk about how it's an AI data center and what kind of jobs. The AI data thing. I'll leave you as we speak about the Biden administration's efforts in Wisconsin and getting all these jobs. They made a perfect commercial comparing and contrasting everything that we've just been talking about. I think it's also worth showing.
If I'm elected, you won't lose one plant. You'll have plants coming into this country. You're going to have jobs again. You won't lose one plant. I promise you that.
The $10 billion Foxconn investment in an LCD plant in Racine County that never arrived. That land remains mostly empty.
We're determined to turn it around. Thus far, since we've come to office, we've created, and with the governor's overwhelming leadership, we've created over 178,000 jobs in Wisconsin, and we're going to create more here in Racine, and big time.
But Trump had a big announcement. Big announcement. I mean, that's the thing. You could talk.
It was a huge announcement.
It was a huge announcement. You could be a talker or you could be a doer. You could be a scam artist or you could get shit done. I mean, that's really the difference that I see with these last two administrations. And everything Donald Trump does is an absolute scam. All the narratives that he pushes are a complete scam. And when the media picks these scams up and runs with it, that's an issue. And like Donald Trump, this wizard on the economy. Absolutely not. Donald Trump, Mr. I solved all crime and crime is rising under Biden. No, actually the opposite. Actually, crime spiked under the Trump administration, and the murder rate is actually down in 19% in 2024 already, with some of the biggest decreases coming from cities like San Francisco, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. And that's in addition to some of the biggest decreases in history in last year. It just keeps going down since Trump left office. And you see that across the board. So Don't give in to the propaganda, whether it's with the trials, whether it's with election-related stuff. Trump is going to lie. All of his people around him are going to lie. That's why we need to be like a wall of truth here at the MeidasTouch Network. And that's why I also want to thank everybody here for making the MeidasTouch Network the #1 YouTube channel in the United States. Not only just for Trump coverage, not only just for politics, but out of any channel out there. We got this report here sent to us today. And this is, this is not a subscriber metric. This is how many actual people are watching you, how many actual people are liking the videos, engaging with the videos. And you could see with this list, we are #1 most popular. And that's when we're in front of here. Vogue is #2, Apple is #3, Fox is #4, and NBA is #5. And I'll also just mention, Vogue, the Met Gala just happened this week. So that's why they're that high, right? Apple just had a major product announcement. They just had that's why they're that high. Fox is always very high. They're the biggest propaganda source of fake news out there. The NBA, it's currently NBA playoffs. Despite all of that, and despite the billions and billions and billions of dollars of money that are invested into those companies, we are beating them. And when I say we, I mean all of us. It's not possible without you watching it, without you watching the clips, without you sharing the clips. The fact that Ben from his living room, me from this little makeshift studio that I have, Jordy from his little green room that he's got there, the fact that we are making the impact, that we are countering these stories, that we are leading the narrative and not just responding to attacks, I think that says a lot. And I think it shows how important that your voice is here and this movement that you built is, that we are dominating in that space. And so thank you. I just want to, before we close out, I want to say thank you to the Meidas Mic.
Yeah, that's why I think about the impact that you have. If you just share this channel with one person, 2 people, 5 people, 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever, the exponential growth and the exponential growth of people getting the truth, people getting the data. Today's episode was full of data. This video, here are stats, here's this, take a look for yourself. Ultimately, we'll give you some of our opinions, but it's rooted in the data, the testimony, the photos, the video, evidence, facts, truth matter here at the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you all for watching. Hit subscribe if you want to help us grow as well. In addition to hitting subscribe and sharing this channel with people, one of the ways you can help grow this is by joining us at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. In addition to that, go check out our pro-democracy sponsors. The discount codes are in the description below. Click it, check it out. Jordy does a really good job, bringing in these sponsors, and there are some great products, great services. Check them out, support them. That goes a long way to help us as well. And it's great stuff. It's great stuff. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Jordy, take it away.
Shout out to the Meidas Mighty!
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. The film Against All Enemies, which I co-produced with Ben Meiselas and this network, has won awards around the world for its up-close portrayal of America's insurrectionist movement. It premieres in the U.S. on March 29th on Amazon and Apple TV. Go to againstallenemiesfilm.com or click the link below. But don't just watch Against All Enemies. Tell your friends about it. It's one more way to hold accountable those who threaten our democracy. Thanks, Meidas Mighty. Let's use our power well.